Welcome back everybody to Madden 17, my name is MrHurriicane, and today, Friday, September 9th, the Week 1 rosters will be out at some point for Madden. They are not out yet at the time of this recording, but today is basically the start of franchise season for us Madden franchise fans. There are a lot of us out here who have been waiting for the rosters to come out. In the meantime, we have been tweaking sliders and getting everything set up to get going in franchise mode. In today's video, I'm going to start up a franchise quick, just a little test franchise to show you guys a few features, to show you how things like practice squad, game planning, and what happens on a week-to-week basis this year in franchise. A lot of us are about to dive into franchise really for the first time, maybe a few tests here and there, maybe to check out the features, but a lot of us are diving into franchise for the first time today, or the first time really paying attention to everything you can do. So I'll be showing you the things you can do as a coach and owner, and let's get into it. Now the first step, of course, is choosing your team and where you want to start. Now you can start in the preseason if you like, and I have done that in the past. Although this year I think I'm going to be starting in the regular season just to jump right to week 1, and I'll start my franchise from there. But I'm going to go in preseason right now because eventually if you're playing franchise you will have a preseason, and I want to show you guys practice squad. So let's get into this, and I'll do the Vikings as a coach, and I'll pick another team to show you guys what happens when you are the owner. So there are some key differences between playing as an owner or a coach. The owner gives you more control over, like, if you want to adjust like the price of different concessions and things like that. And you notice that for Mike Zimmer here I have experience points, whereas with Jerry Jones and the Cowboys I would have funds, and those funds are used to give signing bonuses to free agents and brand new contracts, and they're also used for stadium renovation and stadium rebuilding or relocation. So this is just preseason week 1, and this interface is pretty familiar. You have trade offers, you can make big decisions here and improve the team if you like. The big decisions was one of the highlighted features in the Madden news season, really. So there's options if you want to upgrade at quarterback. It kind of just streamlines things and makes it easier to see what the options are. You have players who are on teams, players who are free agents, and some of their key ratings there in their contracts that they desire. And the contracts desired are definitely much higher this year, and I like that quite a bit. When it's time to cut players in the preseason, you get this big decision menu as well, and it's just another organized way to go ahead and cut players. So I'll just do a couple quick cuts here. So I cut one player, and then you have weekly training, which is another cool feature this year that you'll definitely want to spend more time with once you get into the actual season. But you get to game plan every week, and you can focus train here around 3 specific players that you want to get kind of bonus XP. And in this case, it defaulted to the first 3 players the Vikings selected in the past draft. And then you have drills you can do with training. So week 1 versus the Bengals, here we see their profile and the scheme they run is balanced. We see the type of runs they use, a lot of inside zone. They like the smash and stick concepts. They have obviously Geno Atkins, one of their best players. There's their defense. They play a lot of zone blitzes, a lot of cover 3. And then you can do game plans that help you attack those areas of their team. So, offensive game plan, it recommends that we do something about the cover 3, and we can work on play action power. And then there's a defensive game plan where stopping draw play is one of the things they like to do. Then I'm just going to mess around with this and just see what this menu looks like when you go to change these players. So this is what the menu looks like. Your focus player, you have 3 of them. Shows their development on there as well, and shows all these developments for everybody else that's on the team and their ages. That's pretty cool. But let's do training. Go to the practice field to work on one of your game plans. Let's go into here, and we can either simulate it or play it. So I'll sim one of these.
Fellas, it's put up or shut up time. I know you've seen the press. Their offense has been talking smack about us all week. I don't know about you, but I'm ready to settle the score. Let's focus on the game plan and get ready for Sunday.
Let's go.
I'm not sure how varied those cutscenes are, but it's a nice little touch here, and I do plan on putting these type of things into my episodes of franchise this year. So right now they're teaching us gap basics. And you can see the gaps highlighted on screen. And it's just showing us kind of the disciplines of each player and who's playing in what gaps, basically. And I believe we're supposed to be defending these draw plays right now. So I have to defend the B gap, and they have me controlling Eric Kendricks here. Let me go into player lock. Doesn't look like they're actually grading me right now. Well, they might be. Normally they show like a medal on screen or something like that. Here's... Oh, Adrian takes it to the other way. That's not going to work. And they have the force player, who is responsible for keeping run plays from going outside or pushing the runner towards the middle. Now, I'm not going to be like focusing too much on these drills. I just want to give you an idea of what these drills are doing. And they're teaching you different things about the game and about your opponent. So don't let him reach the hot spot. Okay, Sendejo, can you make the tackle out here? Nice job, Barr. So 3 of 4. Same deal here. Now I have Chad Greenway as the force player. And there's the tackle. So we wrapped that one up pretty well. It was just kind of a tutorial, and now there's an actual drill for it. And you get 3 plays here to, do what you have to do. And they give you the option afterwards to retry them. And that's probably not something that I want to do, because I want to tie in the practices and whatnot into my episodes. And although you could just retry drills and end up with the best reward, I don't like that feature. I want it to be like, get in there, this practice matters. If you want the boost, then you better play well. Even though it's only a small sample of plays, I think that makes more sense. So we stopped them here. That is a turnover on down, so I've achieved the bronze at the worst. And our defensive line here, this defensive line of Minnesota, they're making it way too easy. Kendricks does not have to do a thing here. Alright, we're trying to get the gold here, and Peterson is stopped by Brian Robinson. So we get gold here, forcing 3 turnover on downs.
Because today was a great practice. The coaching staff, we can't ask for much more. You guys consistently do that, and we are going to find ourselves in the playoffs. Good stuff.
Nice little touch there. There's the gold, and you can see there's the option to retry, but no point here after getting a gold. So we'll move on. So I simulated the offense drill. It was play action power O, and there are the experience points awarded to everybody. And then the defense, we had a gold, so there's a lot more XP handed out. And then plus 100 for Treadwell, Alexander, and Willie Beavers. So there's a look at what training does every week. And let's go back into that menu and see. There's still the option to do free practice, which is something I want to do a bit more and show. But the game planning is done here. So why don't we actually jump into this game against the Bengals quick, just to see a couple things. There are a couple things I wanted to share, and we'll do play the moments. That's one of the new ways to play this year. It improves upon Super Sim, and it calls out those key moments during the game. I'm sure you guys have seen a lot about play the moments already, but it's a quicker way to play, and you still get to play a lot of the key moments. And we'll just take a look at some brief gameplay here in Vikings-Bengals. Alrighty, a rainy afternoon here in Cincinnati, and it's simulating until the next key moment, and you can watch it play out here with that nice little screen. Every play has a quick little recap of what happened, or you can be in a hurry and you can jump as quickly as possible, and then all of a sudden play the moment. So I'll just do like a play or two here. I want to see if those certain boosts enter on screen. So let me just call a run here with Adrian Peterson. Okay, nothing with the game planning came up on screen yet, and Peterson is hit behind the line and stopped here by Michael Johnson. Okay, here you go. Weekly game boosts. We have offense and defense. I had a bronze with the offensive drill and a gold with the defensive drill. So it looks pretty simple there. Bronze gives you +1, silver +2, gold +3, and those are the ratings that are being affected right now. Really key ones, and they're only affecting quarterbacks and tight ends, and then defensive linemen and linebackers. I think one of the most useful things, though, about the game planning is just seeing the tendencies, and if they call cover 3 and zone blitzes are combined like 70% of the time, well, then you really know the best way to go about going after that defense. And that's going to work into the storylines for every week into my episodes, seeing what other teams do and what's the best way to counter that. And it'll adjust my game plans week to week. One more thing here about the simulating, you can do the play key moments, or you can play the entire game like you usually would, or just play offense, or just play defense. So nice options there. But I just want to end this game because I want to show you guys what it looks like when you finish a game in franchise. Okay, so when you finish a game, you get the XP feedback here, and it looks like Mike Zimmer didn't earn any XP. And there are the goals on the season, but also afterwards, you see who earned the most XP. Another nice thing to show off in my franchise videos. We see Laquan Treadwell earn the most, and then Sharif Floyd on defense. And then you might even see some more on this panel here. It lets you know about players who were injured. That'll pop up here in the news if there was an injury. And if a player were to regress, like I've seen, I had a game where I was just like chucking the ball deep and I had a really low completion percentage with a quarterback. I forget who it was, but then I came to this menu after the game was over, and his accuracy, I think, had gone down like -1 because he played horribly. So there are some ratings here that might change on a week-to-week basis, so keep an eye out for that after you wrap up a game. Here is another game plan example. And this must be going from just like actual plays they've run during the season, because this is not like a typical run pass split you're going to see. 67% run. That's like a high school offense. But yeah, the Seahawks right here, a lot of zone blitzes, a lot of cover 3, a lot of cover 1. Not going to see too many too high safety looks from this team. And then you have different game plans. Shallow cross against their zone blitzes. Defensively, like the smash concept, so you use the cover 6. And again, you can change out these players if you want, and they'll get, you know, a little bit of XP every week. Okay, so I simulated to week 3, and now you see the 2 new injuries pop up here on the injury report, and it just takes you straight to that. And we have Anthony Barr here who's injured. That wouldn't be good. John Sullivan also injured. And from here, you can also place a player on the injured reserve, and that's nice, so they're not taking up a roster spot in preseason. So let me just simulate, or put John Sullivan here on the injured reserve, and that should free up a roster spot, so I don't have to cut somebody else while I keep an injured player on the active roster. Okay, we're in the final week of the preseason now. And at this stage, you now get the option here on the team menu for your practice squad, the 10 players who are on there earning XP, and, you know, like an actual NFL practice squad. They're there, they're not going to play, and they can be signed by other teams to their active roster. And you can turn that option on or off if you want players to be able to be signed off of practice squads. But you can't just sign a player from one practice squad to the other. It needs to be you sign a player to your active roster. So a lot of players are practice squad ineligible, and that's based on how many years in the league and playing experience. So you have to go to practice squad eligible, and then let's just say I want Alex Collins, try to build up a young running back to be my power guy. We can sign him to the active roster, or we can sign him to the practice squad, and we'll do that. And now, from this big decision cut screen, you can just take a player and move him to the practice squad. Here's David Morgan. Prefer him to be on active roster, but I'll put him on the practice squad. And then there's players here who aren't qualified to join it, despite, 25 years old for Zach Kieran and Jeremiah Searles. You have to go to Jarrell Presley. He'll go to the practice squad. Brandon Watt's not eligible. Stephen Weatherly, he's a rookie. He'll go on there. And your practice squad can have up to 10 players. Okay, into the regular season now, and you have the big decision here as a coach to set your season goal, and this will determine your chance of being fired if you don't meet your expectations, and your XP reward if you're able to actually reach them. So we'll do make the playoffs for the Vikings. Actually, reach divisional round. Got to go a step above what you were last season, so we'll commit to that goal. Chance of firing is very high if you don't reach it. I'm not sure, like, if Zimmer would actually be fired here if he didn't make it, but the chances say very high. I'll be playing as an owner this year with my San Diego Chargers franchise, so there's the goal for them. Now I'll switch it over to Jerry Jones of the Cowboys. Now for Jerry, you don't earn XP as an owner, and the owner's not going to get fired. That'd be interesting, but you still have a lot of other things that you control, like obviously playing the games and being the general manager basically and controlling the roster. here's a notification: the Buccaneers have signed David Irving from your practice squad. So there's an example of a practice squad vacancy being opened up because someone signed a player from your team. And that's going to be an interesting dynamic this year to try and keep players on there you're confident can get better, but also hoping that another team doesn't swipe them up after you put in development. But it'll make for fun storylines regardless. So as an owner, which I'll be playing as this season, you get this entire bucket of stuff here: owner goals. And sometimes you get media questions in here and that type of thing. You get legacy rewards. These are just different goals that will give Jerry Jones more legacy. He's already like maxed out, however. And we'll go media questions. So I'll be highlighting these when there are options here for media statements. I'm not sure what all triggers them, and I haven't played as an owner since Madden 25 when that was, kind of brought back to be an option. And then I also like just looking at these menus here as an owner. I forgot about this stuff because of 2 years not really doing it, but it measures all these different team value things, and it's all going to contribute to your funds that allow you to hand out signing bonuses and to work on your stadium if you want to. And you can dive deeper into each individual thing. Like, you can look at tickets and you can set the prices for all the levels. That's still an option. You can see how many tickets were sold or how much money you made off tickets sold last game and how many you did sell the last week, and individually what each was able to do, and the fan feedback. You got some fake tweets on the right side. It's pretty cool stuff that I do want to show more this year, because one of the things with the Chargers is building a stadium, and I would like to kind of show earning money as the owner and hopefully getting to that point. And here is the stadium option. And obviously not going to be working on the Cowboys stadium here. Jerry's Palace is just fine. It has a high rating and happiness, but you can upgrade it, rebuild, or relocate. And then you have options. You have things for parking, team store, and all of that goes into the quality of your stadium and whatnot. Of course, you also get to control your staff as the owner, so you can fire your head coach. You can get a new scout and a new trainer. Certain trainers are good for regression, and the trainers it is really cheap, so I think I'll just probably end up getting a good trainer. The scouts too, not very expensive, and you can see their specialty. And I'm not sure exactly how the staff affects scouting points this year, but I'm going to be, checking that out here in a moment. But here's Roy Evans, whose specialty is D-line overall. So with the Cowboys, I'll see if there's anything cheaper for the defensive line. And then you have Jason Garrett. Is there a way to see his abilities as a coach? Because I believe he's still going to be earning XP. Let's see the coach goals. Because now this is a player you're not really in control of directly, but he has his own XP and you can spend it, much like you would if you were actually playing as the coach. So you can swap out these packages. And what I was wondering is, like, if you find another coach you like, maybe they already have some of these things purchased, and that would be an incentive to bringing in a new coach. Another nice addition this year into the game is formation subs, and you can still tweak these even as an owner. And my friend Moonlight Swami made a video, and he was talking a while ago about how you can affect who's in for which packages. And in this case, I'll just say, you know what, Terrence Williams, we're putting in Lucky Whitehead in this formation. Now, you can do custom playbooks, but I think once you start bringing in formations that aren't in the Dallas Jason Garrett playbook, for example, no longer can you tweak formation subs for those formations. You can only edit the formations that are part of that playbook. I believe you can add plays because you're formation subbing, not play subbing. So keep that in mind. Find a playbook you like, because if you make too many tweaks, you may have less options when it comes to adjusting formation subs to your liking. And I cannot wait to get back into this year. If you want to, you can really get lost in a lot of these different menus here and just seeing all the different aspects of being an owner. And I really want to show this stuff a lot more in this franchise. You can see who has the most jersey sales, and I'm not sure if the personality rating has a lot to do with that, but all these guys do have a personality over 90. So I guess if you want to make some more money selling uniforms, then go for personality perhaps, or just get really good players. In this My Team menu, you have the ability to look at your team goals here as a whole for just every player. I would like to see these goals be a little bit more varied and more personable, not just rushing yards for, a whole position group or just interceptions, especially when some schemes don't allow you to get as many interceptions, or maybe you're in a role where maybe tackling is more important. I'd like to see that enter the game at some point. Re-signing players, of course, that's a big part of franchise, and you have players who are ready to start the negotiation process. I'm not sure if I've shown much of this yet, but defaults here to the fair offer, and it'll give you immediate feedback on accepting or declining. So there is a quick little look at that. And I also wanted to look at the regression here and see if it happened at all around the league, as players will regress for poor performance throughout the season. It doesn't seem to be like very major, but the fact that it's there and it will have an effect is pretty cool. And there is the message. Players can regress during to poor play, but most of the regression happens at the end of the season. Are there any players that I can show an example of this happening? I'm not sure if we're going to see it. I'll simulate more and we'll come back to this. Upgrading your players is a really important part of the game, and of course, you can go into the all upgrades menu here. It's Ezekiel Elliott, and we'll just go upgrade carrying a little bit and hold on to the rest. Very similar to last year. Still be able to upgrade, your ratings and traits. There's just quicker options here if you want to upgrade this way. Again, in that My Team menu, you can check out the team salaries, and this has been in the game. It's one I typically spend a lot of time in, especially at the beginning of the year, seeing who's going to be expiring, who's going to be expensive next year. Here's the 2017 salaries. Some of them go up dramatically, like Jason Witten's contract here. And you can see, savings if you release a player, and the cap penalty if you were to choose to do that. I do like this new menu for the news stories. You have certain things that are highlighted. Here's a big visual of Kirk Cousins, and then you have just some minor things, and everything's kind of like size seems to be based on importance, although this Ben McAdoo quote really isn't that important. But I do like this more. It allows you to see more information quicker. Here are draft stories, and we have Chip Borland. Apple doesn't fall far, son of legendary Texas high school coach. It's pretty cool. I like the stories here, and you get to see what he actually looks like here, so it's actually a little bit personable. Then you have the My Stories, and I really like seeing these big, visuals of the actual player. That's a nice little touch here. It's minor, but I like it, especially for franchise. So we simmed a week 2, and it looks like the Cowboys are now 1-0, and Jerry earned some more funds over that last week. And we'll answer the media question. What do they have for us, Larry Ridley? Many folks, including yourself, thought this team would perform better last season, but things did not come together. How do you avoid that again this season? How would Jerry want to say this? Jerry he'd be aggressive here. Team popularity. If playoffs made, we go plus 8%, minus 15 if they miss. So different effects here for the answers. We go back to the Vikings now quickly. There's another new injury for them, and who they lose now? No! Come on! This does not need to happen in the game simulating as well. Teddy goes down, Anthony Barr is already hurt, John Sullivan. So this simulation is not going well for Minnesota. They're not going to win too many games at this rate. Oh, they're 1-0. Why don't we just sim forward a few more times? Week 3 for Minnesota now, and this is the Panthers week. Big injury decision here regarding Anthony Barr against Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers. We have the option to play him or Emmanuel Lemur, who will earn he'll earn double game XP if he plays, and so will my coach. The risk for Anthony Barr is worse acceleration, worse injury, and worse speed. You're basically taking away one of Barr's biggest strengths here, so it wouldn't really make sense to play a 74 speed Anthony Barr. But if it's the playoffs, then you'd probably play him. So that's interesting. In week 3, you also get the option to start scouting college players, and here with the Vikings, I have 175 points. Can I check on the scout? Is that an option when you are a coach? I don't think so. So let me just go into the scouting here, and we'll see which side gets the discount. And they've changed the score things this year, so that the more expensive, it's more expensive to scout the first rating for a player than the last one. And I think this one makes a lot more sense, because you could do what I did is I would always just scout like the first rating for everybody, and if the first rating was like a B-, I'm like, okay, I don't really need to look further because you're probably not going to be that great. I would just look for a good first rating and then go from there. But now you have to be a little bit more deliberate in how you spend your points, focus more on their player types, their measurables, and kind of roll the dice a bit more. It's more expensive. So we'll look at tackles here for the Vikings, B- pass block. Not what I'm looking for exactly. Power moves here for Joey Foot, so I would scout him further, and he appears to be pretty good. So very similar to last year, but they change around the points, and that really should change the way you scout, because you should be allocating points differently. Now, we have offensive players here getting the 11, 7, 3, and the defensive players getting 15, 10, 5 for the 3 tiers of unlocking those ratings. So keep that in mind, which side of the ball is cheaper, and you can be a little bit more lenient on that one in terms of spending points. There seems to be a lot more undrafted players here as well. Look at all those quarterbacks that were available. I'm not sure if any of these guys could play. I mean, there's some throw power. I mean, maybe these guys could actually play. And I think that there are a lot more undrafteds this year because of the practice squads and teams basically having another 10 players across the league. That's 320 extra spots for players to have a spot. So gonna see a lot more undrafteds this year, it appears, and I love that. It's gonna bring in more development, and maybe you get a player in your first draft that is a low overall, but he stays on that practice squad for a couple years, plays in the preseason, and all of a sudden he can crack the roster. It's something we haven't really seen in the game before, just because the rosters are essentially deeper. So remember here, I have 48 points with the Vikings. I'm going to keep it that way and simulate to see if it still cuts your points in half when you simulate. I would prefer it if they didn't, because I don't think about the draft in week 3. After like half the season goes by and I realize what this team is, then I start to think about weaknesses and how to go about fixing the roster. But I don't like spending scouting points early in the year, but I obviously do if it means if I'm going to lose some if I don't. So remember the defensive line focus with the scout here with Dallas. So it's defensive. We have a defensive end here who gets the 11-7-3 treatment, but not this linebacker. Not any of these linebackers. Is it only defensive linemen that get that discount as opposed to one side of the football? That's pretty big. That really impacts how many players you could scout. All these defensive ends, all these defensive tackles get the discount, but nobody else on defense does. So when you're in franchise, pay attention to the scout. Let me go fire that guy and see what else I can do. So here's the scout. He's gone. Now I want to bring in a new scout. Staff changes. And let's go back to scouts. Is there an option available? Quarterback overall. Is there anyone who just has like more than one specialty here? So I guess every year you could change your focus based on what you see as your biggest need if you want to save some points. I would probably spend this one on offensive line or defensive backs, because offensive line will cover 5 positions and defensive back will cover 3. And obviously you're going to play 5 offensive linemen and you're going to need 5 good defensive backs. So I would recommend these ones to save you the most amount of points. So I'll submit the offer here. He accepts it. Thank you very much. Let's go back into scouting. Now the cost for those defensive linemen went up to 15, 10, 5, but if we go to the safeties, we're going to see, hey, a nice safety prospect. I'm going to spend some points here. Are you kidding me? 3 draftable strong safeties? Look at that, B-zone coverage. How hard was that to find last year? Man. B- on that one. Might actually find some good safeties here, and that's good news because the Chargers need some in my series. So I'm going to keep the points that way. I had the Vikings at 48, and I had the Cowboys at 49. So if they have 24 points when we simulate, then we know that it still gets cut in half. Hired the scout. There's his contract for everybody to see. And now let's simulate yet again. Perfect. Now I can show you guys the regression. Somebody has regressed based on age, injury, or poor performance, Cole Beasley, 27 years old, so these guys can still regress. More than one drop, he goes down in awareness. Any other players? Look at this, Ryan Tannehill. His medium accuracy goes down because of completion percentage under 50. And hopefully all of these, the ratings that go down match up. More than one drop here. That goes down for Dwayne Harris. Carrying, 2 fumbles for Dion Lewis, so his carrying goes down. That's the type of thing I want to see be dynamic. Under 4 yards a carry. A lot goes into whether a running back can reach that mark, so we'll have to see how common that one is. It's only dropping awareness at least. Brock Osweiler loses some medium accuracy. So it seems that if you have a lot of good or a lot of bad performance snowballing, then you're going to see quite a few ratings drops. Allowed 4 sacks. Matt Khalil goes down 1 in pass blocking. So it appears every time that you scout, another injury for the Vikings. This simulation is horrible. Who is it now? Oh wait, Teddy's back, or Anthony Barr's back, but now Sean Hill's hurt. 2 quarterbacks on the shelf. What's going on with the Vikings in this sim? I'm gonna simulate and see if Mike Zimmer will actually get fired. But you get 175 points every week, but 175 plus 48 does not equal 199, so it does appear they cut those points in half still, so scout every week. I'm not sure if these players have been placed on the trading block, but there are offers out here for like Jerick McKinnon. We'll see what the offer is. A 3rd round pick from Chicago. We're not going to play against Jerick twice, and plus, Jerick's too good to give up. Might have to play quarterback at this rate though, with Teddy and Sean Hill going down. Will any of these players decline offers that they like? That one's perfect. Berger accepts. Let's go to Matt Khalil. We'll offer him 30.4 over 4. He'll accept that. How about Mike Harris? He wants a nice contract as well. Oh, he wants to make more money. So he declines that offer, which makes sense for a backup. Maybe you could test the market, although it's a pretty good offer. Let's go Charles Johnson here, wide receiver. Offer him this, and he'll accept it. And then you have things here. It's locked. I can't negotiate with Jeff Locke. Yeah, it's funny. I didn't even try to do that on purpose. Jeff Locke can't negotiate until week 11. So it shows fair offers. Is the fair offer always what they end up asking? There's the fair offer for Audie Cole, 2.82, but he wants 3.32. So you don't quite know what they want until this window opens up. And couldn't keep Audie Cole. So it's not always as simple as just giving them the initial thing that it says they're the fair offer. I'd rather test free agency and try to get a little bit more. One thing I'm noticing here is it looks like the lower rated players, a lot of them don't want to negotiate until later. It's a small sample size to really judge that from, but we're climbing the ladder here in overall. So it looks like the better players want to talk now, the other players want to wait. So as an example here, I have $44.6 million with Jerry Jones. I'm going to offer Justin Durant here a contract he should accept. A $4 million base and a $5 million signing bonus. And what does that put the... Keep the bonus where it is, improve the rest? You turn that down. So I'm not sure if I can... At least the bonus was good. You still said no. I'm trying to see right now how the funds work when you offer a contract to a player. So I have Ronald Leary here. And you can see every time I adjust this signing bonus, it goes up 0.01, but the offer goes up 0.03. So that's telling me that the signing bonus here is just for 1 year of a contract. Signing bonuses are evenly dispersed throughout the duration of a contract. So you have to multiply this by years to see what the signing bonus truly is. And it's easier here when you can see up to 2 decimal places. You have to have a pretty small offer to actually see that. So if I just lower this signing bonus down a good bit, then I bump it up to like 4 years, you're going to see it go up by 0.04 every time I adjust it. So let's just make it a $10 million offer to make this easy, and the funds go, well, he didn't even accept it, so that goes my example here. Let me try it again. At 35.6 million funds, don't have enough salary cap. I can't do this example right now. Alright, yes, I cut Des Bryant here, just so I could have more salary cap room to try this out. Another question here. At the midway point, your team's in a good spot. How far do you think this team can go? Well, it's a dangerous game to start looking ahead, so right now these guys just need to worry about winning each week. That's not a Jerry answer. You want to win the Super Bowl. Ticket price, 1% up per win and -3% per loss. Those are the decisions I have to make throughout the course of my time as an owner in my franchise. Okay, so I cut a couple more players. Tyron Smith had to go, and so did Sean Lee. Tony Romo's next if this doesn't work. 23.7, let's make it $25 million here, and we'll see what the funds go down to. And there we go. And the funds go down to 23.7. Okay, so oddly enough, the funds went down to Terrence Williams' actual contract total. That's not really related, but it went down $11.9 million, which is the equivalent to his signing bonus and the first year's salary, which makes complete sense. So I don't have to pay his base salary yet. That's going to be in the future. The signing bonus, we pay it now up front along with the first year's salary. I don't know why I didn't really think about it being that simple earlier, but there it is. Okay, I simulated here to the playoffs. Let's go back to the Vikings. Mike Zimmer, how do the Vikings do? Well, he doesn't have a team, so that's not looking too good. Is it going to show him as being fired on here? Practice squad signed. You have signed Nick Easton from your practice squad. Wow, we had to sign a lot of players from our practice squad. How many injuries did this team have? Zimmer was fired. Okay, I am now Ziggy Wilf. I just gotta see how bad the injuries were for this team. Teddy came back. Maybe they had some other injuries throughout the season or whatever. There's Jerick McKinnon. He got hurt. Everson Griffin got hurt as well. I just had to take a look at that. So, I think that's pretty much all I wanted to show in this video, as I just wanted to go through the different features within franchise mode, show some of the new things and some of the familiar things, and just, I know today is like the start of franchise season, so this is to get everybody up to speed and ready to begin their franchises this year and know the ins and outs of different aspects, like when scouting begins and if you lose points from week to week, which you do, when you can do practice squad and whatnot. And here's a case in the playoffs where you do get the big injury decision. This is interesting. Brandon Carr's ratings go down his strength, injury, and stamina, not like his speed or his coverage ratings, so play through the injury. Okay, season's over. And now I just want to see here, these are the expiring contracts that I had. And I had negotiated here with Lance Dunbar during the season, remember that? And I can negotiate again. So I had my chance during the season, and here we are back at it. That's cool though, you don't just have one try at it, you get at least two here it looks like. He declines, so now the option is to franchise tag him. And here are the other negotiations here. Look at this, a 66 overall wanting $1.3 million a year. That's a lot more realistic than we've seen in the past for contract demands, so I'm really happy with how this is all played out here. And actually, Andrew Gatchkar wants even more, and Isaiah Frey probably wants even more, and he does. So that is, now I think that's everything I wanted to show you guys here in franchise. I have done a video already a few weeks ago showing off an entire run-through of an off-season. Check that one out if you haven't. I'll link that down below if you want to see what that looks like before you dive into franchise yourself. But today, guys, franchise season begins. I'm not sure if the rosters are out yet. At the time of this video going up, I assume they will be. But enjoy franchise this year, guys. I cannot wait to get my San Diego Chargers franchise underway very shortly. Thank you all for watching today's video. Please leave a like and subscribe for more Madden 17 content and my San Diego Chargers franchise. And have a great day. Enjoy franchise, everybody.